In this video we are going to be making this snowman, and he's got a light in his hat. It's not a real tea light, it's one of these battery powered ones. So we can turn it on and it glows lovely at night. Ideal for a child's bedroom, knowing that they're not going to get into any harm with it. So let's go on and show you what we need. So we are going to be using this Silk and Softy, well, Soft and Silky Women's Institute one today. It's a lot thinner than what I would normally use, but it feels really nice, and you get to see the holes through the hat with the light behind it. So I've got my main colours for those. I've got just a piece of scrap yarn for the nose. Obviously these are the artificial tea lights. Safety eyes, I'm going with a 2.75mm hook, but you can use anything from a 2 to a 3. Stuffing, needle, stitch marker and my scissors. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to be starting with the hat, and we're going to start at the bottom inside of the hat. So we're going to do a magic circle, and we are going to do 6 single crochets into that magic circle. That'd be your row 1. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and it's at this point I always add my stitch marker, and we're going to close that hole up. But before we do, because I've got this bulging bit here, if you pull on the other bit of the circle, as you can see, it's slowly going in. Don't pull too tight, otherwise you'll have difficulty putting your first stitch in. And then we'll go straight into our second round, which is an increase round, and we're going to do 2 single crochets in every stitch. So you're going to end up with 12 in this round. So we've got 1, 2. So if you carry on 2 in each round till you get to 12, and I'll meet you at the end of this row. Row 3, we're going to increase again this time. So we're going to do 1 single crochet followed by your increase. So that's our 1, and increase in this one. And then you go back to 1. And then an increase in the next one. So if you carry on, I'm going to meet you at the end of this round. Round 4, we're going up another one, so 2 single crochets before your increase. So we've got 1, 2, and then your increase in the next stitch. 2. So if you carry on, I'll meet you back under your stitch marker. Row 5, we're going up to 3 single crochets and then our increase. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and then our increase. So if you carry on, I'll meet you at the end of the row. Okay, this next row we're on 4 single crochets and then our increase. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then increase in this next stitch. So if you want to carry on, I'll meet you at the end of the row. Okay, that's enough for the increasing just for now. That's as large as I want the base of it, and the tea light fits in there quite nicely. We're going to start working our way up the sides, and in order to do that we need to start this next row in back loop only, and we're just going to single crochet all the way around. So you've got your front loop here and your back loop, so we're going in that back loop. So we've got 1, 2, just keep on going all the way around, and I will meet you back under your stitch marker. Okay, this next row is a single crochet round again, but we're going to go through both loops on this one. Just like so. We can start coming up the side. So if you want to carry on, I'm going to meet you at the end of this row. This next one we're going to start decreasing because I just want it to be a little more snug. So we're going to do 4 single crochets and then a decrease. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then for our decrease we're going to pick up the front loops only of the next 2 stitches, like that. Going to pull the yarn through, just those 2, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through again. So you've done a whole decrease, and then you just carry on with that pattern, 4 single crochets and then your decrease. This is number 4, and then the front loops of the next 2 stitches. Make sure you've got all the right strands. Oops, that came back off. There we go. And if you want to carry on, I'll meet you back at your stitch marker. Okay, we're going to carry on with just single crochets all the way around in these rows, and I'm going to do 5 more rows of just pure single crochet going all the way around. So if you want to hit your pause button, because obviously you don't want to watch me doing this for 5 rows, I will meet you back on the last one and we can work out what we're doing on this last stitch. Okay, so I finished the 5th row, and we're just going to check, make sure we're happy it fits in there nice and snug. There we go. Now we're just going to finish off the top row with just slip stitches going round to give it a nice edge. So we're going to go in each stitch, pull the yarn through and through the one that's on your hook. That is your slip stitch. So if you carry on, I'll meet you at the end of this row. Okay, I've just finished my last stitch, slip stitch in, but I'm going to do a couple more because I've got this distinctive bump going round and I don't like it. So I'm just going to blend it in a little bit more. 1, 2, pull my yarn up, and this is where we're going to cut it, and we're going to do an invisible finish off. So we thread our needle, making sure you get all the strands because this is 4-ply. And then what we're going to do is we're going to miss this next stitch, we're going to go through the one after that, and then back down the stitch that you are already on, and that hides the stitch. And then we're just going to weave this in and out some of these stitches along the back. And trim it off. Now there's the top of the hat ready. We just need to make the brim going round now. So we go back to our yarn, turn it upside down, and I'm going to go where we did the join. As you can see, we've got some stitches here. These are the front loops of the back loops that you did, and this is how we're going to join it. So we're going to pull the yarn through, and then we're going to chain 1, give that tail end a tug, and all the way round we are going to be doing 5 single crochets and then an increase because we need to make it bigger for the brim. So this is our first one. Now that we're on to number 2, and at the same time you want to hide the yarn in your stitches. So this is number 3, so that's staying over my needle, so then you've got no sewing in to do. This is number 4, number 5, and then in the next stitch we need to do an increase because we need to get bigger as we go round. So there's 2 in this one. 1, 2. So if you carry that sequence on, 5 single crochets and then an increase, and it will take you back to your first stitch. So I'll meet you back here. Okay, this next row I've added my stitch marker back in on that last stitch, and this is our first stitch here. So we're going to go into this one, and this time we are going to do 6 single crochets and then an increase. I'm going to go in that back loop to make it a bit easier to get in. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then an increase. So if you want to carry on, I'll meet you at the end of this row. Okay, this next row is 7 single crochets and then an increase. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the increase in the next one. There's 2 in here. So if you carry on going round, I'll meet you back under your stitch marker. I just finished that row. I'm quite happy with how wide the brim is at the moment, but if you prefer a longer one, the next row will be 8 single crochets and an increase, and then 9, so just make it as large as you like. And to finish off, I'm going to do the same as we did for the top. We're just going to slip stitch into every stitch. It gives it a nice neat edge. So if you carry on, I will help you finish off at the end of this row. Okay, we just got right to the end of that round. I'm just going to snip it off, thread my needle, we're going to do the same as we did at the top. We're going to go through, miss this one, go through the next one like so, and then back through the back of the one that you were doing. And then just feed it down through some stitches to hide it. And snip off the end. Okay, now we just pop in the candle. The easiest way to do it is to grab your hook on the inside and ease it in. And then the more times you do it, the looser it will get. Oops. Just pop it down. And there you have your tea light in your hat. So let's get on and make this snowman. Okay, the same way as we have done the hat, we're going to do a magic circle with 6 single crochets. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Pop in our stitch marker and close this hole. I'm going to go straight into round 2, and we're going to do an increase in every stitch, so we're making it up to 12 on this one. So this is our first stitch here. Get in. One, 2. So if you carry on doing 2 in every stitch, I'll meet you under your stitch marker. Row 3, we're doing 1 single crochet before our increase. That's one, and then an increase in this next one. You're going to follow that pattern all the way around, 1 single crochet and an increase, and I'll meet you at the end. Row 4, we're doing 2 single crochets and then I'll increase. 1, 2, and an increase in this one. Oh, I've got all my hoops, there we go. So if you carry on, 2 single crochets and then you'll increase. Row 5, we're up to 3 single crochets and then I'll increase. 1, 2, 3, and then you'll increase. So I'll let you carry on with that pattern going round, and I'll meet you back onto your stitch marker. 6, 4 single crochets and then you'll increase. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you'll increase in the last one there. So follow that pattern around and I'll meet you back under your stitch marker. Row 7, we're on 5 single crochets and then I'll increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then increase in the next stitch. So if you want to carry that pattern on, I'm going to meet you back under your stitch marker. Row 8, we're on 6 single crochets before our increase. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then I'll increase. So if you carry on, I'll meet you back under your stitch marker. Okay, for the next 6 rounds, that's rows 9 through to row 14, we're just going to do a single crochet into every stitch. So you need to keep going until you've done the next 6 rounds, and I will meet you back at the beginning of row 15. Okay, row 15, we're going to start making it smaller again, so we are going to be doing 6 single crochets and then your decrease. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then with our decrease we pick up the front loops of the next 2 stitches. So it's like so. Pull the yarn through the first 2 and then yarn over and pull through. That is your decrease. So if you want to carry on, 6 decrease all the way around, I'll meet you at the next row. Into row 16, and we're going to be coming down another stitch, so it's 5 single crochets before your decrease. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and number 5, and then the front loops of your next 2 stitches for your decrease. So if you carry on, I'll meet you at the beginning of your next one. Row 17, we're down to 4 single crochets before your decrease. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a decrease in your next 2 stitches. Like so. So if you carry on, I'll meet you at the beginning of your next round. Row 18, we're down to 3 single crochets before our decrease. So we have 1, 2, 3, and then a decrease in the next 2 stitches. So I'll meet you at the beginning of your next row. And row 19, we're down to 2 single crochets and then your decrease. Got 1, 2, and then our decrease.
if you carry on, I'll meet you at the end of this one. Okay, so at this point I want to add my eyes. So I generally go between rows 10 and 11. So you need to go back up and work out where that is. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's in this row here. And we want to do it 9 stitches apart. So if I'm going to have this one as my first one, let's count over 9 stitches, shall we? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's go in this next one here. So I've made a hole for that one. And then we just push where you've marked it. And again on this one, to make sure I don't lose where it is. And if you're happy with where they are, you need to put your backs on. And it's at this point we need to start adding some stuffing. And then throughout the rest of the pattern, you just keep stuffing it as you go. I think that's enough for now, and then I'll just keep adding more as we go down. So for the next row, which row are we on? We are on row 20. We're going to do 1 single crochet and then a decrease. So keep your finger behind it so you're not going to be pulling up all the stuffing as you go. So we're just going to do the 1 and then our decrease. So if you want to carry on, I'll meet you at the beginning of your next row. Row 21, we're just going to do a single crochet into every stitch. So we've got 12 stitches in our round at the moment. So you need to go around and put 1 single crochet into all of those 12 stitches. So if you carry on, I'll meet you back at the end. Row 22, we're going to be doing an increase round. So we need to do 1 single crochet and then your increase. So it's 2 in this one. We're going to make his belly now. So if you carry on, 1 single crochet and an increase, I'll meet you at the end of this round. Row 23, we're going up to 2 single crochets before our increase. 1, 2, and then our increase. So if you carry on, I'll meet you at the end of this row. Row 24, we're on 3 single crochets and then our increase. So we've got 1, 2, and 3, and increase in the next stitch. So if you carry on, I'll meet you at the end of this round. Row 25, 4 single crochets and then your increase. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then our increase in the next stitch. Okay, so you carry on, I'll meet you at the end of the row. Row 26, we're up to 5 single crochets before your increase. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then increase in your next stitch. So if you want to carry on, I'll meet you at the end of this row. Now for the next 2 rows we are just going to do a single crochet round. So every stitch has a single crochet in it for 2 rounds, so rows 27 and 28. So if you would like to carry on, I'll meet you at the beginning of row 29. So row 29 we are going to be doing 6 single crochets and then an increase. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, oops, 5 and 6, and then your increase. So we're going to do 2 in the next stitch. So if you carry on, I will meet you at the beginning of your next row. Now for the next 7 rounds, so that is rows 30 to 36, we're just going to be doing single crochet round. So in every stitch you're going to pop a single crochet, and you've got 7 whole rounds to do. So if you would like to carry on, I will meet you back at the beginning of row 37. Now row 37 we're going to start decreasing, so we're going to do 6 single crochets before our decrease. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then we're going to take the front loops of the next 2 stitches onto your hook, yarn over and pull through those 2, then yarn over and pull through the last 2. So if you carry on, 6 single crochets and then a decrease. Before we go any further, I'm going to keep adding some more stuffing because you really want to make sure that the neck has got a lot of support. You don't want a wobbly neck. So just push it all the way down in there. Make it nice and firm. Okay, so we're going to go straight in. The next 2 rows are single crochet round, so it's 38 and 39. We're just going to do 1 single crochet into every stitch. So if you want to carry on for the next 2 rounds, I'll meet you at the beginning of row 40. Row 40 we're down to 5 single crochets and then your decrease. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the front 2 loops of the next 2 stitches. So if you want to carry on, I'll meet you at the beginning of your next round. Row 41 we're going to go down another stitch, so we're doing 4 single crochets before our decrease. Number 3 and number 4, and then our decrease. And remember to keep adding your stuffing as you're going. So if you carry on, I'll meet you at the beginning of your next row. Okay, for now row 42, we're just going to be working a single crochet round, but in the back loops only. So this is going to help it sit a bit better. So if you want to go all the way round, back loops only, and I will meet you at the beginning of your next row. Row 43, we're doing 3 single crochets and then our decrease. We're going to slowly close the bottom up. So we've got 1, 2 and 3, and then a decrease. So if you would like to carry on, I'll meet you at the beginning of your next round. Row 44, we're getting a bit smaller now, 2 single crochets and then your decrease. Number 2, and then decrease. if you'd like to carry on, I'll meet you at the beginning of your next row. Row 45, we're down to 1 single crochet before your decrease. Don't forget to keep adding your stuffing as you're going. And this is our decrease. So if you carry on, I'll meet you at the beginning of your next row. Row 46, we're going to be decreasing all the way around. So you've got 6 decreases to do. So you're just going to pick up the front 2 loops of every stitch and work your way around. So if you carry on, I'll meet you under your stitch marker. Okay, that's all of those stitches done. I'm going to cut off a length of yarn now just so that I can finish it off. So we want to pull our yarn through, and then you're going to pick up the last 6 front loops and pull it closed. So we have got one here. That's number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and number 6. And you want to give that a bit of a tug between your fingers. And then I generally go back through and I pull it up. So if you poke it out the back of the body, like so, and then give it a good old tug. And then it gives it a nice flat surface for the snowman to sit up. And then I go with a stitch and just keep moving it around. So you're going to go with a stitch and move it. I'm going to cut that end off. And give them a squeeze into place. There we go. Now we need to work on his nose. Going on to the nose now, and I've just got a waste piece of yarn. Doesn't need to be a huge length. And we're going to do a magic circle with 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Pop your stitch marker in. And then round 2, we're just going to do a single crochet round. So there's going to be 4 single crochets. I'm going to give it a tug. I want to try and keep it this way. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, and it's turning in the wrong way. Got a lot of fiddling to do with it. And number 4. Row 3, we're going to do an increase to begin with, and then 3 single crochets. So let's find our first stitch, which is this one here. In 2 in there, and then our 3 that are left. 1, 2, move our stitch marker, and 3. The next row we're going to start off again with our increase, so we need to find our next stitch, which is here. Pop 2 in there, and then carry on around with just single crochets. Take my stitch marker out. the last row, I'm just going to do single crochets going around just to make it slightly longer, but I don't want it any bigger. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Move my stitch marker to do this last one, number 6. And then I'm going to pull enough yarn to sew it on. And I'm going to just push this bit inside because that can act as our stuffing. And there we have our little carrot nose. Now we're going to go ahead and make the scarf. We're going to start off with a slip knot, and we're going to chain 4. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to go into the second chain from your hook, which is this one here, and we're going to single crochet 3 back along. 1, 2, and the last one's here, number 3. And every time you get to the end of a row, you need to chain 1 so we can go back down the other side. So we're going to go back in this first stitch here, and we're going to do 3 single crochets. So this is your 3rd row. 1, 2, get them in that end one, just put tight. There we go, it should be plain sailing from now on. Now we've got to the end of the row, so we're going to chain 1 and turn, and we're going straight back in that first stitch. This is row 4. Got 1, 2. See, it's a lot easier now, you've got a bit further up. That's number 3. Chain 1 to turn, put it back through that first stitch. And this is row 5. We're going to go all the way up to row 45. So I'll come back to you when you're finished. Now I've got my scarf finished. You can go as long or as short as you want. So when you get nearer to 45, just maybe put it around your snowman just to see if you're happy. And that's a good fit. So I'm going to start off now by sewing on my nose. I'm going to thread the yarn. It doesn't need stuffing because you've already poked the tail end up in there. And I'm going to pop it between the eyes, which is here. And you can either pin it or just try and wing it. So now I'm going to go in this next stitch through just to make it neater, like so. So we're going to pop it between those 2 eyes and start sewing it on. So it's about here. You want to try and keep all of your stitches underneath your nose. So I go up 1. Let's find the front stitch there. And then cut back down the next one, which is here. And then I grab a piece of the actual snowman itself underneath the nose and put it through. Go up the next stitch, down the next one, give it a bit of a tug, go under the nose and pick up another stitch. And do that all the way around. So you're going up 1 stitch, down the next one. Give it a pull as you go, and then make sure you go under the nose to catch some of the body. So there is our snowman's nose. Just going to do 1 more around here to make sure it is secure. Up 1, down the next one.
and I'm going to lose this underneath. So you can pop it up the top because you're not going to see any of that because we're going to sew the hat on. Just do a couple of stitches. And there we have that one. So now I'm going to sew the hat on. I'm going to take a long piece of yarn. The same colour as the hat. Put a knot in the end. And I'm going to position my hat. See where I want it. I think that bit's nice. Okay, so I'm going to go from the inside and just poke it through so the knot stays on the inside. When you're happy with it, I might just pop a couple of pins in just to keep it steady. I want to go near this brim area. So I'm going up underneath, catching some of the head. And then I'm going to poke it up around that area there. So you go with the stitches. Keep catching his nose. So I'm going to come back down here. So they're not as obvious. Again, I'm going to go underneath and catch a bit of the snowman. Go back up through here, round by the brim. And just keep working your way around. So if you carry on, I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so I've sewn my hat on. I've left the tail end there because I'm going to want to use this for the mouth. You don't have to put a mouth on, it's entirely up to you. So I've picked up the tail end of my scarf and we're going to sew these in now. So we're going to wrap it around. Just pin it in place for a second. There we go. I'm just going to give it a couple of stitches to hold it in place. Come back up through this bit. Always go with the stitch. Just do a couple every so often, just to keep it there. Come back through this side. Okay, I'm going to lose this end now, just through the body. I'm going to tuck it through the back because I want to tidy up this end. So we'll thread that tail end. We do the same as we've done on the other side. I'm going to go under here. Pick up that bottom end of the scarf. And do exactly the same with this tail end. Straight the way through the back. There we have our scarf. I'm going to rejoin the hat tail end if you've got enough left. If not, just thread up some more. And I'm going to take it all the way down through into the mouth. Might have to do it in stages till I work out where I want to go. Let's have a look. So I want to go to about here. Bring it through anywhere, it doesn't matter for now. Okay, I think I need to just nick down the bottom here to turn it into a smile. Like so. Let's just hide that end back through the back of the head and cut off all your extras. And there is our snowman, ready for his tea light in his hat. So it will be stiff when you first put these in, but as you've been putting them in and out, obviously to turn them on and off, they will get a lot looser. Let's just put that in to wiggle that up. There we go. That is our second snowman. And I will emphasise, do not put proper tea lights in these because they will catch fire. These are only for the battery operated ones. We'll just give his bottom a good push and that will enable him to stand up better. So I hope you like the video. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.